Halloween's all about child sacrifice. That's straight up devil worshipping.
Just to clarify what he said, the reason we take children trick-or-treating is because in ancient Celtic times, children were sacrificed on this date, and therefore now taking them around streets and giving them candy sucks their energy into a satanic ritual of some undisclosed nature. That sounds f***ing crazy. There's no historical basis for that, it just sounds f***ing crazy. Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, welcome if you are new. I love Halloween, you may be distinctly unsurprised to hear. I love this holiday, it's the only time of year I can buy the home decor I want from mainstream stores. I am a walking, talking stereotype of a satanic atheist. Today we are going to be talking about Halloween. Now my expertise on the subject may not go down well with all potential viewers on account of, you know, being clearly of the devil. Actually, lately I keep having people tell me I am the devil, which is a very sweet and vast overestimation of my reach and abilities, if we're being honest. Naturally, this magical, mystical, spooky time of year brings some slightly unusual people of the fundamentalist variety out of the woodwork to discuss how satanic and evil this whole thing is, and how you shouldn't let your kids dress up and eat sweets because the devil. That's how the devil gets them. They're putting the devil in the candy. They're turning the kids devil. Yes, every year in October, Christian channels are popping up saying, do not celebrate Halloween for this, that, and the other reason, and it always makes me chuckle. One popped up that kind of tickled me, and I thought we would look at it together for funsies. Fundies. Before we dive into today's video, look, I feel like a magician today, I don't know why, maybe it's the high neck with my bat jumper. Before we dive into today's topic, this video is sponsored. Today's video is sponsored by Wondershare. This is an aside, I was really excited to work with Wondershare because they make the editing software that I started YouTube with. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen my Claim Your Space reel. A lot of you will know I come from VFX, I worked in film and TV, an area of post-production that is extremely male-dominated. When I started in VFX, I believe there was one female supervisor in the entire company, and it was a big company. Stereotypes and labeling of gender, sexual orientation, stuff like that means that not everyone has an equal opportunity. And minority groups, when they make it into those fields, are often not given the respect they deserve. Wondershare wants you to share your stories to inspire and motivate others. What do you do, or did you do, to claim your space? Anything you want to share is valid. You can make a 30 to 60 second video or use photos to talk about what it takes for you to claim your space, to break barriers. I put together a little goofy montage of me doing my thing with some stats about the top Twitch earners and YouTube creators being almost all male. You can do whatever you want. Use hashtag #ClaimYourSpace and hashtag WonderSpace and tag Wondershare. Prizes will be given to the 5 most inspiring stories. I'm really excited to see what you're doing to claim your space. I get so freaking hyped watching people motivate and inspire each other and just celebrate each other's skills, the hard work that we put in. It gets me really excited, so please do share your stories. Like I said, prizes will be given to the 5 most inspiring stories. Winners will receive $200 US. This is the best part. Every person that participates using those hashtags will enable $5 to go to charities, including Step Up and Dress for Success, which are non-profit organisations dedicated to empowering women. Those numbers will be calculated using the hashtags, so make sure you use those on your post. Remember when you share your story to use the hashtags #ClaimYourSpace and hashtag #WonderSpace and tag Wondershare. I really am excited to see what you post. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you Wondershare for this fabulous campaign and for sponsoring this video. On to the thing. This is Council of the Wise, and tragically it is not a group of wizards and elves. It is this one dude who posts all of his videos with caps lock titles because he's very serious about God and stuff. Let's see what he has to say. This video is called Tell the Christians Halloween is satanic, please. Enjoy.
So it's almost Halloween time. And guess what? I bet all these same Christians that's coming on the comment board every day, running their mouths, scoffing and scorning, they're going to be out there taking their little children out trick-or-treating. And doing so, participating in a satanic ceremony and a satanic ritual.
Did you know, all of you Christians out there taking your children out for Halloween, that you're participating in a satanic ritual? I bet you didn't. Calling anything satanic and talking about Satan is already a problematic understanding of the Bible. We don't have the years needed to go into that right now. Let's just carry on and understand why this is satanic from this, I'm sure, very learned gentleman.
Halloween's all about child sacrifice. That's straight up devil worshiping. Halloween goes back to the Celtic festival of Samhain, which involved the sacrificing of children.
Hold it. Whoa now, pal. Okay. First of all, I'm going to put this down as an accent thing. I'm pretty sure it's Samhain, and not Samhain, but it could just be an accent thing. This man has a very strong accent. I was thrilled for 0.1 seconds because he's right. Samhain is an ancient religious festival. It is Celtic in origin. For some reason, to have some other to hate, probably the actual reason. For some reason, anytime something is vaguely pagan in origin, Christian fundamentalists will attribute that to Satan, despite Satan having no relation to paganism, and despite, every fundamentalist's favourite holiday, Christmas, being pagan in origin. We'll talk about that in a couple of months. Samhain, ancient Celtic festival. 3 to 6 days. So, and as always, I will leave some links down below so you can read about this for yourself, because it's super interesting. Isn't it super interesting? So this was celebrate the harvest season, so when it was about ushering in the dark time, the dark part of the year. The people would join with druid priests to light a communal fire. It certainly could be violent, because ye olde religious people. Early texts suggest that the community was required to show themselves to local kings or chieftains. They believed that failure to participate in the festival could lead to punishment such as death by the gods. In Ireland, Samhain was more militaristic. They would celebrate military commanders. Anyone who committed a crime or used a weapon there was sentenced to death. Pretty violent. Some documents mention days of drinking to excess and eating gluttonous feasts. Sacrifices were involved, as they were in many traditions, but these were sacrifices of cattle, not of human babies. I can't stress that enough. There was no child sacrifice, unless you're talking about calves, in which case I'm not sure, but they were probably sacrificing adult cows. As we progress into the Middle Ages, the communal fire aspect becomes more important, bonfires become more traditional. These fires and this festival in general is purportedly about protecting people from spirits. It's not about summoning spirits or interacting, inviting demons into the world or anything, satanic of that nature. It's about protecting people from demons, which, much like sacrificing of animals, is not too dissimilar from the origins of Christianity. So maybe tone down the hypocrisy a little bit, my man. This is just an interesting side fact. This is around when jack-o'-lanterns started to appear. Did you know the jack-o'-lanterns were originally turnips? It's an Irish tradition, and at some point they switched to pumpkins. But yeah, they were little turnip boys. Isn't that cute? We should all be making turnip jack-o'-lanterns. I've got to read this quote to you. In Wales, men tossed burning wood at each other in violent games and set off fireworks. Some things never change. Hey, Wales. Here's where it gets interesting for the Christian viewers. Around this time, Christianity starts taking a foothold in pagan communities and begins the long-held Christian tradition of making other religious festivals into their own, of taking them and being like, no, actually, that's Christian. That's a Christian festival, and here's how you celebrate it. In the 5th century, Pope Boniface, I did look that up, I looked up the pronunciation, so if that's wrong, have a go at the internet, not at me. Okay? He moved the celebration to May and tried to reframe it as a celebration of saints. Fire festivals at the end of the year continued, though. In the 9th century, Pope Gregory, he moved the celebration back to the traditional time of year, but made November 1st All Saints' Day. November 2nd became All Souls' Day. As a result, October 31st became All Hallows' Eve. That contained many of the original pagan aspects, and eventually this made its way over to America as the Irish immigrated in the 19th century? The 19th century. Pretend I said it with confidence the first time. Trick-or-treating is supposedly derived from the Irish and Scottish traditions of mumming. Mumming was the practice of going door to door wearing costumes and singing songs to the dead, and usually cakes were given in return, so you can see how we got trick-or-treating from that. So essentially our man is right about the Celtic pagan origins of Halloween, missing the fact that it has been repurposed by Christians to become a Christian celebration, although I have seen many Protestants say that because this is a Catholic attempt at changing this tradition, it's still satanic anyway. You just can't please some people. So what I'm saying is he was doing really well and then he threw in child sacrifice, and I don't know what to do with that, because not only was child sacrifice not involved in the ancient Celtic tradition, paganism and Satanism aren't related, that's not a thing. Fundamentalists have this thing where basically anything that isn't my religion is satanic, which, as I mentioned earlier, is deeply problematic from start to finish. Even so, clearly the people who celebrate Halloween today are not practicing ancient Celtic religions. Outside of modern Celtic revivalists, druids, Wiccans, very few people who celebrate Halloween are celebrating Samhain. And the people who are celebrating a modern day version of it. And to be honest, even if they were celebrating in many of the original ways, having a bonfire, which we do anyway for a different reason in the UK, having a bonfire, having 6 days of drinking and having lots of nice food, it's pretty fucking harmless. I've never known any Halloween celebrant to sacrifice a cow. If this dude had a problem with that, which would be surprising because, you know, Christianity.
Which is why you take children out to trick or treat and put their energy into this satanic ritual. But most Christians, not all, are pretty stupid and they're going to do it anyway.
Most Christians are pretty stupid. I'm sorry. I'm being really mean. I'm being very rude about this gentleman's accent, and that is not fair. Anyone in the comment section who has that accent, I am very sorry. But I've already insulted the Welsh, so in for a penny. I'm gonna say citation needed on that one. What energy are we putting into what satanic ritual? Don't be afraid, but many of you know that I am a member of the Satanic Temple, and Halloween is one of our events. In terms of at least this particular branch of modern Satanism, it's just about a little bit of indulgence. It's about celebrating the darkness and the aesthetic of that. It really is. Essentially, within TST at least, it exists to be like, if you think this is satanic, that's really funny, I'm going to enjoy that. That's basically what it is. You can have whatever opinions you want about that. I love Halloween. I think that the fact that people are so crazily screaming about how demonic it is without actually learning any history, even of their own religion, it's funny to me. I think that's very funny because I actually have that understanding. I'm very comfortable celebrating this holiday knowing that I'm not actually infringing on your religion in any way. Peeps just want to be mad at something. Just to clarify what he said, the reason we take children trick-or-treating is because in ancient Celtic times, children were sacrificed on this date, and therefore now taking them around streets and giving them candy sucks their energy into a satanic ritual of some undisclosed nature. That sounds fucking crazy. There's no historical basis for that, it just sounds fucking crazy. But maybe he'll clear it all up in the next 30 seconds, who knows?
Literally dressing up, pretending to be witches, devils, and serial killers. And then say it's just good fun for the children.
Well, okay. Probably somewhere out there, some idiot, I'd say this is more like a teenage Halloween party thing than probably kids trick-or-treating, but some idiot out there is probably dressing up as fucking Jeffrey Dahmer or something. What I assume he means, because the most common sort of costumes and things tend to be from either those traditions of ghosts and witches and things, or from current pop culture, and when people dress as serial killers, especially children, those tend to be from movies. If you see like a Freddy or a Jason, those are fictional. They're not dressing up as serial killers, they're dressing up as characters from a fiction, okay? From a movie. Maybe relax a little bit on that one, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, for the children. 1 Thessalonians 5:22, abstain from all appearance of evil. Abstain from all appearance of evil. Dressing up and pretending to be vampires, witches, and serial killers is an appearance of evil. So
says who? Where does the Bible mention vampires? I think this is really what's happened, okay? I think this chap is a very modern Christian who he has his Bible and he refers to his Bible, but he intermingles his Bible knowledge with pop culture and what pop culture says Christianity is. And pop culture says that it's Christians versus vampires because that's what happens in the movie. In reality, vampires don't exist, so dressing up as one is nothing to do with evil. Now, it doesn't surprise me, and it probably won't surprise any of you, that our chap here is using a King James Bible. While the King James does say avoid the appearance of evil, the New International Version says avoid every kind of evil. English Standard Version, my version, says to avoid every form of evil. These are all reasonable translations of the Greek word used. It can mean appearance, it can mean kind, form. Incidentally, the same word is translated in Corinthians as sight. This part of Thessalonians is all about being good. It's about living in the spirit, the typical kind of stuff. Encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with them all, see that no one repays anyone evil for evil, seek always to do good to one another and to everyone. If I were a Christian, obviously my interpretation is going to be different because I'm using a different version of the Bible, but if I were a Christian, what this part of Thessalonians would mean to me would be avoid doing evil. That's it. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. Do good things. Help people, especially those who are weak. Don't be evil. I think if you look at this extremely simple and clear message and read into it dressing up as a vampire as partaking in a satanic ritual, you need to think about... It feels so weird for me to say. You need to think about how much your own modern biases are influencing the word of God, right? Because the Bible don't say that. The Bible just don't say that, all right? I don't know why I'm talking like that now. Let's just move on.
Abstain from all appearance of evil. Dressing up and pretending to be vampires, witches, and serial killers is an appearance of evil.
Subjective, isn't it? It's just subjective. Okay, here's the core thing, right? Vampires, witches, whatever, fictional serial killers, they're not real. You're not appearing evil by appearing as something fictional. The idea of black and white, good and evil, is problematic in real life. To apply it to, once again, literally fictional beings, fictional characters, is crazy. It's crazy. I'm sorry, dude. It's crazy. Essentially what we have here is a fundamentalist wanting something to be angry about and finding a very convenient time of year for it. And this is part of the reason I think these people are dangerous, because they take a sprinkle of the truth, talking about Samhain, talking about the Celtic origins of different traditions, and then just throwing in outright lies about child sacrifice. Maybe this guy just loves cattle, maybe he just really loves animals and is for some reason angry at ancient pagans sacrificing animals, but not at all of the animal sacrifice in the Bible that God commands. Whatever, you do you, man. Child sacrifice is just not a thing that was part of this festival as far as the evidence goes. Now, I personally find animal sacrifice to be pretty gross, but it doesn't matter in terms of my enjoyment of Halloween, because that's not what people are doing in a modern context. When you're talking about people in the USA, which is who he's talking to, his audience, taking their children out in fun costumes to say trick or treat and get some sweeties, there's no human sacrifice involved. And this guy's just basically saying human sacrifice, therefore satanic rituals, you're being involved in them. With no link, no evidence, no explanation, no nothing, just trust me, bro. This is Christian fundamentalist, trust me, bro. So what I'll say is, if you are religious and slightly afraid of celebrating some kind of tradition, a little party never hurt anyone. Putting on a costume and taking part in a little party doesn't have anything to do with your faith. You can still love God just as much. You're not doing anything evil by indulging your kids in a bit of fun and some sweets and dressing up. It's just fun. It's just good-natured fun. And it really encourages so much creativity in children. The other thing, I won't go into too much, but I will just say, and I think a lot of groups, especially fundamentalist groups, do this intentionally, isolating your children from events that everybody else is taking part in that they think are harmless. Yeah, you're just isolating them from their peers. Either they are going to grow up in a bubble with a very constructed worldview, which, like I say, is intentional in some cases of raising kids, or they're going to grow up to resent you and or their religion. I know people who grew up Catholic and are still bitter that they weren't allowed chocolate advent calendars at Christmas time. All that happens is they buy their own now that they're adults. You didn't influence anything except making them bitter at you, because it's a completely harmless thing. So there we go, that was a little bit of fun. I mostly just wanted to talk about Halloween because I think it's so cool. I just freaking love it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what you thought of our man, Council of the Wise. Let me know if you're a Tolkien fan and you're offended at his username. No, but seriously, this is just one example of a very common viewpoint and a very common tactic of taking a little sprinkling of truth, adding loads of crazy and making it as scary sounding as possible to try and influence people for whatever reason. And relying on a very specific translation and your own personal interpretation of the Bible to again make others think like you. if nothing else, it's a good example of that, so it's kind of a learning experience. I hope you have a very lovely week. There is more fun Halloween stuff coming from me very soon. If you like hearing me ramble, do go and check out my gaming channel. Come and hang out on Twitch. We are playing spoopy games all October. And then I also play spoopy games every Saturday anyway, because I just love spoopy games. Have yourselves a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.